And welcome to the Triple Commit podcast. As you can see up here, unfortunately one of our guests doesn't have a webcam today, but our other one does. Say hello to Chief Beef. He is a Rocket League content creator, mainly on Twitch but also on YouTube as well. Fantastic player as well, also a player who's competed in RLCS in day one qualifiers and has had some good results in there as well. So very, very talented player, SSL. On the other side then, of course, we have the infamous Darku, who's 600k on TikTok now, also on Twitch, driving for partner. Sorry, Chief Beef, you are a partner on Twitch, I forgot to mention that. Darku driving to be a partner on Twitch, but TikTok is his big platform at the moment, but moving swiftly over, getting 600 views on video now, 600 views, concurrent viewers, which is crazy. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well. Thanks, how are you?
Amazing.
I am doing great. I'm delighted to have you guys on, and I suppose starting out, have you ever been on a podcast before? This is your first experience. How are you feeling about it?
The first for me. It's always been something I've kind of been interested in doing. I always kind of, there's certain things that, you can't talk on a stream or whatever content you're creating, but just when you're like in a podcast scenario, you can definitely go more in depth with.
Yeah, first for me as well, and I'm excited.
Yeah, it should be a very, very good one. This is, of course, a content creation special, so while we will talk about the bubble scene and about RLCS, we'll also talk about how the lads do their content creation, how they feel about it, what their goals are, all that good stuff, and we'll have a just general chat about content creation a bit later on. But as always, we get started with, I think, the most important topic in Rocket League at the moment, which is RLCS. And Chief Beef, of course, you have experience playing in RLCS and the qualifiers. How exactly has that experience been for you so far this season?
Yeah, so it was something that kind of going into it was something that I'd always wanted to give a shot to, just to, you get the experience, you get to play against people better than you, and, just the overall, like, you get the nerves out of the way early on, if that's something that you're looking to go into for a long time. And it was a good experience. It definitely is a learning experience, right? The more of that sort of tournament style gameplay you do, you get better at it as you go on. It's different than just like playing ranked and all that, right? That you have to actually have the competitive mindset. There's a lot more that goes into it, of course, but it was really fun. I was kind of coming into it for like the content side of it, right? Just getting that original experience, but then also, I live stream every single game that I played during the qualifier, and just to be able to, see my audience and the people that I'm normally talking to every day. I cover up the chat, but then after the game, I look over and everybody's going crazy. It's a really cool experience. And, going forwards, maybe you go farther, right? It's all that learning experience. So the more time you put into it, eventually, you get the results if you, actually put the effort into it. But it definitely makes for good content as far as the content creation side of things. Like it's just one of the more competitive things in Rocket League that doesn't often get that like internal perspective on, right? Like you can watch the RLCS broadcast and you can watch, some high level gameplay, but it's not often that, you'll see like an actual inside, like, with the players communicating with each other sort of style of that content. And I think that's a very unique experience for whoever's watching, whoever's participating in it. It's definitely, it's a cool thing, and I'm excited for the next ones because I'll be continuing to do it for sure.
Yeah, only a week away now. Well, 6 days actually. We're recording this on Saturday, so we still don't know fully the results of RLCS for this weekend, unfortunately. We do know one thing, however, and that is that Sandrock Gaming have been dethroned in a series. Sites coming back from 3-1 down in the series to win 4-3, or was it 3-2 down in the series to win 4-3 in a colossal game 7 match. But how do you feel about that, boys? Sandrock, the only undefeated team so far in RLCS 2021-2022, finally going with the wayside. That means every team has lost a series so far.
It's definitely unexpected. I don't know if Darku has any information on it, but I didn't watch the entire thing, but I saw the result, and it's definitely unexpected. You see Sandrock and you think like they're almost unbeatable. They make it to the actual main event and then they lose, right? It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think a lot of Middle Eastern teams get overshadowed by Sandrock. I think that there are a lot of them with potential, and obviously it showed today with them getting beaten. I'm sure there's a lot of room for more Middle Eastern teams to, really show their potential.
Absolutely, and it's fantastic to see as well. New teams emerging, sites of course only really coming out in the last kind of two regionals, and now that they dethroned the Kings, at least for now. Of course, the lower bracket run still very much alive for Sandrock, so they could still win the regional very convincingly. But of course, they were the last team that never lost, that had yet to lose a series in RLCS this season. That has been broken now, so every team that has won a regional, including X-Pulse, which is now 3 Rats, and Sandrock have now lost a series. Tokyo Verde, of course, being dethroned 2 weeks ago from their title overall, which is crazy. But how are you feeling about these emerging regions coming in? It is very awesome to see, and it's some really good Rocket League. It's been improving week on week, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the skill gap is very interesting because I feel like when we got that LAN, it was really sort of interesting, and I was very impressed with regions like OCE. I was impressed with the Middle East, with how they can really sort of compete with the other regions, the bigger regions like EU and NA. And I think especially OCE really did surprise me because their practice must be incredibly hard because they only practice against sort of themselves because of obviously ping. They don't get much chance and all that stuff. And with them sort of almost, they won against a few big teams from NA and EU. So that's really surprising. And it's great to see. It really is.
Yeah, it definitely is like a proving point because for a while I think people kind of joked about how they didn't even stand a chance, but to see them actually come in and win some games is really cool. Like you said, it's definitely tough to be that top team when you're only practicing against people within your region. If you're able to have the scrims with the other more established teams, it makes it a lot easier. So going forwards, I think they're only going to get better. The playing field is only ever going to even out with those experiences.
Absolutely, and of course, Sandrock did make top 8 as well at majors, so showing the world that when on zero ping, they are a team to be absolutely taken seriously. Johnny Boy was right all along, as he usually is. To be fair, he's usually very, very correct about what he guesses and assesses. I suppose that kind of brings me into another point. How do you guys enjoy the casting of Worlds? Yes, I know, Chief, that I think if you ever made day 3, you'd definitely get someone to cast your games for you, because that'd be fun to do. But how do you feel about the casters? Who's your favorite caster right now for us? Yes.
Like this one, I'm a big fan of Johnny Boy. I've always been a fan of Johnny Boy just for the personality. Like back when RLCS was still like a growing thing, back when Rocket League wasn't as established as an esport, and Johnny Boy's doing show matches and that sort of thing. You just like get to know him a little bit, and just the excitement and also the accent, man. He's got a fantastic voice. Johnny Boy I don't know. He's always been my favorite personally. I've always loved the guy.
Yeah, I agree with Chief. I really like Johnny. Again, I used to watch his show matches with young Scrub Killer, against the good players back in the day like Cookser and all that. And I think he's just been the most, I don't know, he's just been the top caster for a long time, in terms of show matches, in terms of everything, in terms of just sort of being that face for casting on Rocket League. So yeah, I'd have to agree with him.
Speaking of Johnny Boy, have you ever been in contact with Johnny Boy for a show match, or is that something that you'd like to happen in the future?
I haven't, but I mean, if any content creator or I don't know, maybe other player wants to 1v1 for a show match, I'd always be down.
Yeah, no, me neither. It would be really fun to eventually become a part of the Johnny Boy show matches, but yeah, maybe further down the line. Nothing so far though.
That would be a lot of fun, and I agree. Johnny Boy's an absolutely fantastic caster. My favorite is Jorby. I absolutely love Jorby. I think he's fantastic at what he does. He's always so hype. He's very much an inspiration to me. I'm very hype when I cast. But speaking of RLCS, day 2, is that the big goal for you, the next regional, or perhaps even before this ends, Chief?
I think your mic was cutting out, but I think I got the most of it. But yeah, no, just seeing how far we can go, whether it's day 2, whether it's day 3, just any bit of progress. It really, It's interesting because you need to distinct like the you need to make a distinction between improving as a player, improving as a team, and the results that you get, because there's a lot more that goes into making it to day two or making it to day three than being better compared to being better as a player. Like you can have a tougher bracket, or you can have like an off day, or something weird can happen in a game, and that'll cause you to be eliminated. But the main focus is just that team improvement, and that improvement as a player, just being more confident going into the next time. Like, even if the results are worse, you can still definitely see like improvement, and be more confident that next time you have a better chance, because nothing's ever necessarily guaranteed. Like you see some of these larger teams getting eliminated in day two, like teams that you would expect to go through. I remember, I believe Power got eliminated in day two on the last qualifier. This one they made it to day three, but some massive teams definitely, like, you think they're gonna make it, but then it doesn't happen. So it's really just about that improvement as a team and as a player, because that's really the only thing that you can be consistent with, and that you can actually like trust in. That'll you have that direct path towards improvement, I guess.
So yeah, I would ask Darku about this, but Darku has made it very clear that he never wants to go pro. He's happy being a content creator, which is really cool. But what is your kind of take on RLCS, Darku? How are you enjoying this circuit so far? How are you enjoying this split? Because there's been a lot of controversy around the format and stuff. How are you finding it so far?
I'm finding it entertaining. I think my team Wild is currently competing in RLCS. They're one win off day three in the losers bracket, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's been really entertaining because I haven't been able to play in RLCS for ages now, because I've recently just turned 15. But I'd love to give it a go. I'd love to sort of get a team, maybe just obviously, as I said, I don't really want to go pro. I'd rather be someone like Lefamir, who's still good at the game, still at the top, but focuses more on content. But yeah, just to try just for fun. Obviously not expecting to get it, but who knows. But yeah.
So is that you're looking for team post right there? Is that you're looking for team post right there, Darku? Just saying.
I wouldn't say looking for team, because I'm not 100% serious about it. But if any like friends wanna hop on a team with me and play for fun, then I'll be 100% down.
I'm sure there's a lot of SSLs in your community that would love that. They love the opportunity to play with you and have a good time. So I think you guys would also be kind of trying to meme it a little bit, which would be funny. On RLCS teams, like these teams taking it seriously, and then Darky's just coming flying through looking for a penta reset or something.
Yeah.
That's how I imagine that going. Chief, of course, you Gut and Goodberry all take it very seriously, which is awesome to see. But it's also nice to see these teams to come in and just do kind of have fun with it. And you guys do as well. You seem like you're having a lot of fun with it. You don't seem ever very dispirited in comms, even when things aren't going your way. You always seem very upbeat and happy. How do you feel about that? Do you agree with it, or do you think that it's something different?
No, definitely. Yeah, I think it's something that's started to become more popular as of recently, but it's like a philosophy I've always had is, if you're going to do something, you kind of have to be ready for whatever end result you have. And, if you need to be happy with whatever happens necessarily, like you can't change the past. If something goes wrong, if someone makes a mistake and all that, then, you just carry on. You got to, give it your best shot. And then whatever happens, you learn from it. That's got to be the mindset you have for it. But also, I would say we do take it seriously, but definitely not as much as like some of these organizations that have a lot of money going into it. Me, Gubbery, and God we're pretty close friends, and so going into it, it's more of just seeing what could happen. It's not if we get qualified, it's amazing, but that's not like we're going into it wanting to be qualified and wanting to see how far we can go. But if we don't end up, then it's just for fun at the end of the day, trying to test ourselves, trying to get better. But yeah, definitely just being able to learn, whether it's a win or a loss at the end of the day, is the best mindset in my opinion.
Well, I suppose we kind of touched on the format a little bit, but how do you both find this format? Because there's been a lot of controversy, especially around NRG against Rogue. Obviously, Rogue beating NRG in the group stage, but then both teams finished 2-1, which meant they had to battle it out for that upper bracket place, which of course NRG won ultimately. How are you guys feeling about the format? Is it something that you're concerned about? Is it something that you think should change? How are you feeling about the double elimination bracket coming in spring? Of course, because we're getting closer and closer to the end of the winter split now. The major, of course, well down the line, which we still haven't been announced yet. So that's crazy. But how are you feeling about the format in general?
So I'm not really sure how it works. I've seen people on Twitter complaining about it. So obviously, something's not wrong, but it's something that people aren't too happy about. But yeah, I'm not really too sure about it, to be honest.
For me, it seems like it definitely favors the teams that are good. A team that is winning the games early on will have an easier chance to continue to win games, it seems like, which it's debatable if that's a good or a bad thing, but it definitely does make it easier for the teams that are better. Even through the qualifiers, just going through the qualifiers with my experience, the way it works is it starts out, there's however many teams sign up, say 300 teams sign up. They'll create like 8 brackets, right? And then through that bracket, it's a double elimination bracket. If you lose, you go to the losers bracket. And the only way to make it forwards is if you win the entire losers bracket. And then if you, on the other side of things, you have the upper bracket. And both the winner of the upper bracket and the loser of the upper bracket will advance. However, the winner of the upper bracket, so to go back, three teams out of each bracket will advance out of like 300 people, 3 teams from each bracket. So it ends up being like, I believe 48 teams that make it through to day 2. And so what happens is then there's 16 teams in the upper bracket of day 2 and 32 at the bottom. The bottom bracket, 1 loss, you're out. You have to win, I believe, 5 series straight, either 4 or 5 series straight to make it to day 3. And if you're in the upper bracket, you have to win 2 series, and then you're through to day 3. So winning the upper bracket on day 1, super beneficial to go through to day 2. Winning the upper bracket day 2, it just, everything is, if you are that team that deserves to win, then you kind of stay in the tournament and you have that better chance. And it definitely, I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing. Like with every single format's going to have a positive and a negative. Every format's, there's going to be the good things and bad things about it. It might be more entertaining to see like NRG be eliminated, but at the end of the day, they have a lot of fans, and if they're consistently winning, it's probably worth it to give them that, if they're winning their games, then they have the easier route, right? But it definitely is debatable, right?
Yeah, I was more talking about the group stage and then the double elimination bracket in the main event. But yeah, absolutely, the qualifiers is also very interesting format indeed. And there's 16 pools in each one, and I believe you've been a second or third seed in some of those pools, which has been pretty cool for you guys.
Yeah. It makes it so, again, it's all about like, if you're winning your games. If you're the second seed, you have an easier run through compared to a lower seed that might have to face the hardest team like right off the bat. So it definitely rewards throughout the whole entire whatever qualifier, whatever group stage. It just rewards the better team, which again is debatable if that's a good or a bad thing.
And Darku, what would be your favorite region this season so far? Not, of course, you can count EU, but not just because Wild's there. But in general, what's been your favorite region to watch this year?
Definitely NA. I just love the sort of fast-paced mechanical gameplay. In my opinion, EU is more it's more solid, and EU is more closed down. Don't let the other team, go for this mechanical play. But NA is sort of different, and I just love NA's play style, and that's why my favorite team is FaZe with AJ on, because I just love his play style. But yeah, definitely NA, 100%.
What did you make of the recent change in FaZe? What did you think of it, and how did you take it?
So it was Illusion gone for, who was it again?
Typical.
Typical, that's it. I think Illusion was more of the sort of, the solid player. I'm not too knowledgeable about NA RLCS, but I'm pretty sure with Typical it added more of like a fast-paced, like mechanical sort of team. Again, I could be wrong, but that's what I'm pretty sure of. So yeah, I think that's a good change.
And Chief, what about you? What would be your favorite region?
Yeah, definitely NA. I think a lot of the players have a lot more hype around them. I don't know where it stems from, but it might be because I'm from NA, but with whatever content I'm watching, I feel like I'm always hearing about like, you hear more about like the Justins and the first killers and all that. Obviously, there's the big names, the counterparts from EU, but at least for me, just the big names are bigger in NA, if that makes more sense, and that makes it a little bit more entertaining. Again, it could just be because I'm from NA, but I definitely do enjoy watching NA more. I feel like there's a lot more hype around all the big rivalry games. Like if you're watching an NRG versus a FaZe, that'll be a crazy game to watch no matter what happens.
I love EU. I love EU. I adore it. But I would have to agree that there are more rivalries in NA. NA is perhaps a bit faster, more mechanical. And maybe that's because, as Cash said before, I was dragged for it until it was proven at LAN, is that there's too much space perhaps in the NA game. But, it does make for exciting games and matches. I love EU as a region. I prefer watching NA as a region. I prefer watching NA games. EU games are very much games of attrition, and it was great to see a team like Team Queso come out on top, of course, in the recent regional. But I suppose since you guys are both not necessarily participating at the highest levels, we can talk about the bubble scene a little bit, and you'd be included in that bubble scene, Chief. What do you think the bubble scene needs in order to thrive more?
And I guess there's a lot of stuff, or there's a lot of, I don't know, there's a lot that you could talk about as far as the bubble scene goes, but I think that one of like the biggest things that not a lot of people will talk about is just like the impact of sticking together as a team and like actually learning how to play as a team. Because you face any of these, like I've played all of the, or at least most of the top players and ranked, like all of the NRGs, all of the phases. I've played most, if not all of them, and on an individual level, of course, they're great, but it's not like anything unbeatable. Like their real strength comes from how good they are as a team. And I think that a lot of a problem in the bubble scene is there's just so much like, okay, we're not good within the first week, we're not good within the first month. Let's switch it out. Just completely ditch our entire chemistry that we've built, and then maybe it'll work somewhere else. But you start to see some of these bubble teams have success, like the ones that are sticking together for longer, while they're not like absolutely untouchable, insane players that you come up against them and it's an instant loss. It's just if you are a team that has less experience together, then you're just gonna lose to them most likely, just because they'll beat you based on chemistry. They'll be able to outperform you by playing quicker off of each other, getting quicker passes. Just the whole game will speed up when you can trust your teammate and be confident in them. And I think that's a huge thing for sure. But if you take it the other side, if like, what does the bubble scene need to progress? There's obviously gonna be the teams that are at the top, the teams that get the most funding and all that, and there's always going to be the bubble teams. But I think that if more bubble teams got more funding, then maybe it would be more motivating for those players if they had a monetary incentive or something to give them that drive to improve. I think that could definitely help, but there's definitely a lot they could do.
Yeah, Darku obviously is someone who's very high up in the rankings in Rocket League. You've obviously come against some pros and against some bubble players. What do you feel is missing in terms of the bubble scene in Europe specifically?
As Chief said, I think sticking together. Many teams sort of before qualifiers, they quickly get into a team, and then when they lose against a team arguably better than them, they lose motivation. They think they should split up, and I think, like Chief said, that's just completely the wrong attitude. I think that, as he said as well, that being sort of having synergy, I think that's the right word, is incredibly important, and that's why you see all the top teams being really good. And yeah, again, which I agree with him, is the ranked thing he said. The way that you can beat a pro in ranked, but can you beat their whole team with your team? Probably not. Well, definitely not. you know. So yeah, I 100% agree with Chief. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see, and it's definitely an interesting topic. Of course, Chief, are you going to be playing in the Prestige event coming up this coming Friday? It is $2,100 on the line. Will you go and Goodberry be playing in that the Open Qualifier?
Don't believe so. It would be a cool thing, but the past week or so we've been pretty busy. I know Gubbery's been busy with like moving houses, so we haven't had too much time to practice or sign up for those events, but any events in the future definitely trying to participate in. It's always good to get that experience, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really really important, and of course we do have those great pool events going on over in the States, which is fantastic to see. Of course, the AAA Flashes of Brilliance event, which of course went off very very well indeed. Anybody watch that here, or were you just kind of preoccupied with qualifiers and other things?
I was definitely more preoccupied, but it's cool to see more events than just the main RLCS streams.
I feel like we should talk about the big elephant in the room here, and that is the fact that you guys are fantastic content creators. So we'll move on to content creation as a thing, because you guys are killing it recently, absolutely killing the scene. Of course, Darku, for you, what got you started in content creation, and how's it been going so far for you?
So back in, I'd say 2019, me and my friends, we had like this friend group, and we challenged each other on who can get the most. Oh no, sorry, it was first one to 1,000 followers on TikTok wins, and we just started posting and posting, and I had a video that got like I think maybe a few hundred K views, and I was like, wow. So I just sort of kept posting from then. Obviously, haven't been fully consistent, but as of recently, I've been having, a lot of videos blow up, and I've been consistent, posting, multiple times a day. And obviously I'm at 600K now, which is a crazy number. I'd never thought I'd get this far. But yeah, so from that, I've been trying to move over to stuff like YouTube and Twitch. Almost partnered on Twitch. Got probably like a few more weeks, I'd say, maybe a few more days until Twitch get back to me. And I've been started uploading on YouTube as well, which has been pretty good. I've gained like I think 10K subs in the past, I'd say maybe week or so, which has been amazing. But yeah, so right now content creation is going amazing for me.
And for you, Chief, how's it been going? Obviously going quite well, and those RLCS streams seem to really bring in the viewers, which is great to see.
Yeah, so for me, I got started, it was April of this past year, April of 2021, and just kind of, me and my friend group, same sort of idea as Dirk Hughes, same sort of start. Me and my friends, we all love Rocket League, but for me, it was pretty much my friends started to get busy with different school things and started to get busy more so than me. Found myself with a little bit more spare time, and I was always a little bit higher ranked than my friends, and I've seen success from other creators just playing games, pretty much playing Rocket League, and so I pretty much just hit the go live button, and then I believe it's been close to 10 months since I first went live, and I have streamed every single day besides two. I've missed 2 days in the entire 10 months that I've been streaming. So just having that consistency has definitely helped me. You see a lot of stories about, people that have been streaming for years and they haven't reached Twitch partner and all that. And I've definitely been fortunate enough to have the spare time and actually be able to have time to do it every single day. I'm definitely fortunate in that aspect, because a lot of these people that have been streaming for those years they've kind of, one of their downfalls that they might not have been able to control is just that consistency. Just being able to be live every single night. I'm live every single night, 6 p.m. Eastern time, the minute, like literally the minute, 6 p.m. Eastern time, I will be live. And just having that sort of consistency will eventually, if you do it for long enough, as long as your content is enjoyable, the people will come and the people will stay. It has always been my philosophy. And it's definitely a fun thing, though. It definitely, you want to make sure, like, it's coming from that passion, from that, aspect of having fun. Like, you got to be able to do it for that fun aspect. If it ever, like, content creation ever felt like a job to me, I probably would be getting burnt out, and I don't know if I could force myself to do it. But up until this point, just every aspect of it, there's a lot that goes into it that just makes it super enjoyable, and that's why I've been able to have that sort of consistency, and it's really cool to see. It's really cool to see the progress and all that, and excited going forwards for sure as well.
I'm pretty sure I know the story from both of you guys, but I want you guys to tell each other and tell the audience exactly what the origin of your name was, because that's so important in content creation, your name. So, Chief, do you want to go first and tell us the story behind your name?
Sure, yeah, I'll go first. So pretty much, the full name is Chief Beef, and so the original story was, I was talking about how I had this friend group that liked to play Rocket League together, and so we'd always play, twos, threes, whichever ranked modes together, and we're a team, of course, we're a team, and we have to have the team synergy, and so along with that, obviously comes matching names. And so, so Chief Beef is, I was one of, I believe, 5 different chiefs, and it was Chief Keef, the rapper, his mugshot photoshopped onto various objects. And so we all had the same exact mugshot, and then Chief Beef was Chief Keef's head photoshopped onto a brown and white cow that was eating some grass. And then there was also a Chief Reef, there's a Chief Thief, a Chief Belief, a Chief Leaf, and there might be one more that I'm missing, but shout out to the Chiefs. I basically just kept the name. That was my name when I started, when I started streaming. That was the name before it, and so just stuck with it because I don't know. I like the sound of it. It's kind of rhymes, right?
It does, yeah. Chief Beef definitely. It rolls off the tongue nicely as well. But so does Darku. Darku rolls off the tongue lovely as well. So, do you want to tell us how you got your name, Darku? Because it is a fantastic one as well.
Yeah, it's not as detailed as Chief Beef's, but so back on like Xbox and Xbox 360, so this was like ages ago. I'd always have, I think I got a generated name called Dark, or like Dark. I can't remember what it was actually called. But ever since that, I've been around the name Dark. No particular reason, just because of sort of the name from the start. And when I moved to PC, when I started my TikTok account, I wanted a 4-letter name just so it'd be clean. And I was typing in names, most of them weren't available. Then I found Dark and I was like, oh, that sounds nice. So I just went and picked that. So not as nowhere near as detailed as Chiefs, but yeah, there is sort of a reason. But yeah.
But I suppose that ties in though, isn't it? It's a brand thing, right? Like if it rolls off its tongue nicely, if it's easy to say, if it rhymes, all that good stuff, that can help you a little bit in the content creation game. I know MorkyMork's a bit of a mouthful, and it works for casting because it's a bit of a mouthful. But for content creation, it's not necessarily the best name. Where you guys kind of have that really nice name that kind of flows off the tongue. How important do you feel that your name is in terms of your branding, and not just your branding, but also how many followers you got from it?
No, it definitely does help. It helps with like expanding on what you've already created. Like almost the retention, right? The audience retention, just being able to have a logo, a name, and make it easy to remember. Just allows people like, I watched this guy. What was the name? It was Chief Beef, of course. Right? It's like that sort of, it allows people to come back easier, and that'll help you grow when you have people coming back.
Yeah, I think especially if a name is unique, if it's unique, if it's short, if you've got obviously the right profile picture, I think them 3 things are the perfect things to be a content creator. Just make sure people remember you from that, and it's sort of easy to say and remember.
Yeah, it definitely starts you off on the right foot if you're starting out as a brand new content creator. It's definitely good to have a name that's easier to remember and not like a bunch of numbers and all that sort of stuff. Kind of makes it tougher, I guess.
Especially if it's a name that everyone has, like, I don't know, say if you use, I don't know, squishy something, like,
Yeah.
people already, there's so many like You know, there's already a pro player called Squishy. There's probably loads of, you know, fanboys that have Squishy. So you've really got to sort of have something that's different from the community and really stands out.
Yeah, when you distinguish yourself from like other people, it allows you to grow bigger than them. Because like if you made your name like Squishy Cupcakes off of Squishy Muffins,
Yeah.
obviously it'd be incredible to even come close to Squishy Muffins if you're a new content creator, but you're never gonna surpass the original, right? If you have that unique name, it allows you to make your own thing and not not remind other people to watch that other guy.
Exactly.
So I suppose, Chief, this is for you because I'm going to ask Dark you a different question. Is there any org you'd love to sign with as a content creator? Is there any, like, if your mind goes to that place that you could become a content creator for any org, who would it be?
Your mic was cutting out at the beginning. Was this
I'm
directed to me?
Yes, I'm asking what org would you like to sign for if you could sign for any org possible?
Yeah, I mean, if we're going into the hypotheticals here, I think that it would be foolish not to say NRG, just the group with the most outreach, of course. It would be incredible to obviously any of the larger like tier one organizations would be fantastic, but uh, obviously you'd have to choose NRG if you're any org could pick you up, right?
I will come back to you about orgs in a second, but Darku, how important has being with Wild been for you over the past? I believe it's now what 8 months since you joined Wild, August wasn't it of 2021, or
I
was it
think
not?
it's
It was
around
sooner?
10 months. I
Yeah.
think it's around 10 months. Yeah, very important. They've helped me sort of, you know, a lot of motivation has been, you know, uh, well, I've got a lot of motivation from it. They've helped me with stuff like, you know, editors, I don't know, just supporting me in every way. And I think without them, I wouldn't be as consistent as I am. I probably wouldn't be posting today, to be honest. So, you know, I've got to, you know, hand it to them and thank them very much. And it's very important that I'm, you know, with them right now.
And how much do you enjoy being a part of the Wild team? Because, of course, as a content creator, you are, of course, part of their team. How does it feel to be, associated with a brand like Wild? Of course, brand new, but very EU based. Got some good ideals behind them. How important is it for you to be kind of with them, and how good is it for you? I know I've already kind of asked that question in a roundabout way, but what I'm asking is, how do you feel you represent them? How do you represent them on a stage that is good for them and good for you?
Your mic's lagging quite a bit, by the way. So but I think I understood what you said. So it's quite good because obviously with being in Wild, I get to play with the players. Who's Spectre, Crispy, and Mingo. I do quite a lot of tournaments with Spectre. Oh, sorry, not Spectre. CMAS now, as he rebranded. Play a lot of tournaments with him. I go in calls with him often. We can create content together, obviously, because he's a pro. We can, you know, do all different types of things with content. But yeah, it's great, and sort of having that, you know, team to sort of not just boost me in content, but boost me in the way I play is just amazing.
And then I suppose, Chief, for you, any big things you'd need from an org if you wanted to sign with an org? What would you be looking for in an org? What would you be expecting from an org, and what would you give to an org?
Yeah, so I think any content creator and any org would agree that any contract has to be mutually beneficial. So I would be offering them, the same. I would be offering them positives as well as they would be offering me positives. We would both be, gaining from each other. I think that I would be able to offer them my fan base. I would be able to offer them a lot of content. I think I am with the whole streaming every single day approach. A very safe pick if any organization was looking for a content creation or content creator. Just someone who's going to be a safe pick, someone that's going to be around for a while, because I definitely have that drive to create the content every single day. However, I do, it is worth saying that the organization would have to give me like a reason to join them. I've been offered a few organizations, position and with a few of them, but it's mainly been from organizations that are like just starting and trying to find somebody, and hopefully it doesn't come off the wrong way, but I think that the stage that I'm at right now, being a Twitch partner, I think that it would be more in their favor, and it makes sense from their approach. But I would have to be, getting something out of it myself. I would have to be getting. I think the connections are the most important thing. Just being able to connect with either other content creators on the organization or other, the players on the organization. Just some sort of connection that will allow me to continue to grow my own brand pretty much. So, while I do appreciate any offers that I do get, like some of them definitely have been like, more one-sided, I guess, in the favor of the organization, just trying to get more out of me than I would be getting from them, like not too many benefits. So just making sure that it's that mutual, I guess, beneficiary is what we're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's really important, I think, to make sure that you're getting that. As a caster, I know you have to put your value first. You have to really, make sure that you are getting what you think you deserve, as well as obviously giving something back. It is supposed to be mutually beneficial. Darku, how has that mutually beneficial relationship been for you? What do Wild expect of you, or what do you expect of Wild?
So they just want me to sort of they don't have content goals. They don't say you have to post this amount, you have to stream this amount. They let me do their thing, and what I just have to do is represent them. Obviously, play with their players, all that different stuff. Promote them sometimes, all that different stuff. And obviously with that they give me other stuff like the obvious things and stuff like editors, which is incredibly beneficial for me, as I don't have to edit my own videos and all that stuff. So yeah, honestly, being with Wild and the benefits I get from them, I think is very fair, very very fair.
Awesome, and we'll talk about something I suppose that's great is that, and that's kind of your brand and how important that is, because I'm sure right now there's content creator, people that are wanting to be content creators out there, looking in. So what kind of drives you? What kind of do you think sets your brand apart from other content creators? What do you feel is really important when you're establishing a brand as a content creator? I guess anyone doesn't know what brand is. It's basically how you sell yourself to orgs, to other people, to even just regular viewers on the internet, because you are essentially a product. And once you become a Twitch streamer or any kind of content creator,
I think one thing that really helps me is that I'm on TikTok. I think there's not many, I think if any person right now who's growing on TikTok right now, maybe, a few thousand a week, but I don't think anyone like me is growing right now. And I think moving TikTok to Twitch to YouTube, it's perfect. And I think what people underestimate is really the power of TikTok. I'm not good at editing. I'm not good at being creative. But what I did is I got better at the game, and I used that to create videos to sort of, I don't know, showcase my skills. And from no editing background, from no special, like, I don't know, from no like sort of unique background, I just established myself as that really good player on TikTok. And obviously I'm nowhere near any of the pros, nothing like that, but I'm sort of I've taken myself away from just posting normal clips, and I've started to be very very creative with what I do. And people underestimate how not easy it is, because you still have to grind, but how all you need is the grind on TikTok. You don't need any background. You can just sort of, you can post your clips and maybe get quite unique with it, and you can get 600,000 like me if you're just consistent. As Chief Beef said before, if you're just consistent, you can go anywhere. I've been posting maybe like, I think a few times a day for the past 3 weeks, and I've gained over 250,000 followers in 3 weeks. So if you honestly just put your mind to it and sort of get that real motivation, you can do anything.
Yeah, for sure. I think definitely something that you need to focus on is just making content in general, right? You have to. A lot of people get stuck on that first phase of, I want to start this. I want to give this content creation a thing. I want to give it a shot. But maybe having that perfectionist sort of, approach to it where they have to be better than other content creators or else it's not even worth giving it a shot, right? You kind of, it's something that you develop along the way. It's something that you start off with having pretty much no clue what you're doing, no experience. Sometimes any experience obviously helps, but for a lot of people, you just do something and then you figure it out along the way. I think if you can figure out that unique thing that works for you, that will set you apart from other people, there's so many different niches that you can fall into, so many different unique things that you can do that will make people want to come back to you, right? Like I think at the end of the day, making content that is somewhat unique that will lead to people wanting to stick with you rather than someone else is one of the major goals, right? Like if you are, I don't know, there's a lot of different avenues that you can take, but you just don't want to be almost copying other people. Or you got to find what works for you.
I suppose for you, Chief, really, really important branding and stuff. And how important is that for a new streamer? And how important is it just to get started in general for any new streamer out there who wants to get into content creation?
Yeah, so I think something really important is just finding the unique thing that works for you and that niche that people will remember you for. I think that like as a new content creator, you don't really have too much direction going into it, but once you give the go live button the first press, or once you post your first video, once you post a few, or once you get like a few weeks or a month into it, you'll start to determine what actually works for you, and you'll start to figure out like what makes your content unique apart from other people's. And I think that finding that uniqueness is really, really, really important if you want to have success, because you need to have people, want to watch you for a reason. Obviously, there has to be a reason for it. For some people, there's a lot of different niches that you can go in. For some people, it is the gameplay itself, and you'll see people that don't have a webcam, they don't have a mic, and they'll still be having hundreds of people watching them. Every once in a while, you have people that have this hype behind them because they're such a good player. But then for other people, it's like the actual person that they're watching it for. But whatever it is, whatever you're good at, and whatever you find works for you, once you start streaming or making content of any sort, you just kind of, you eventually find that thing that works for you, and just sticking with that and defining that is very, very important going forwards, is what I would have to say for sure.
Absolutely. And I suppose you're both on stream. You're both very positive. You're very, very happy-go-lucky kind of characters on screen. I wouldn't say your characters. That's probably the wrong word, because I'm a caster, so everything I do is character. It's all about creating storylines and stuff. But for you guys, you always seem so like genuinely positive and just so upbeat. Is that hard to maintain, or is that just comes naturally from the fact you're getting so many people like loving you and tuning in and being part of your communities?
For me,
sorry.
I'll let you go.
Oh, okay, thank you. Sorry. I think being positive and not sort of always sad and unhappy about things that are happening is such a big thing, because if people do not want to watch people complain, right? People want to watch someone that can sort of interact with them nicely, talk about things. Positive person. I've always seen the light side of things, and I think doing that is incredibly important. So for me, it's not too easy. It's not that hard to keep chill and be happy while streaming.
Yeah, for me, it just comes from who I am. I'm just a generally happy person, and just from the start of it. But then it definitely gets like not exaggerated, but that sort of idea, just because of the environment that I'm in. Like I'm doing something that I love doing with people that I love being around. Just being able to have starting from being a positive person, and then you add on like I'm able to every single hang out with the same group of people that I've met for and talked to for months and be able to play a game with them is just, it makes it even more easier to be positive. And like you said, you it definitely helps with the content side of things. It's some people have that like over the top uh like complaining, and that might work for them. But if you're like just a genuinely angry or, complainy sort of person, that's not the most exciting thing to watch, right? If people are, some people come into a stream to get away from that sort of energy. Like some people come into a stream after a bad day of work or something, and so if you're able to add that positivity, it definitely can help out. But like I said, there definitely is some people that like are that, almost jokingly super super angry, and that's their whole unique content, is there that the dude that will get super loud and angry at whatever happens, and people find that entertaining. And but definitely just being, if you're not going that far, you definitely taking the more positive route will make it more entertaining, at least in my opinion, for sure.
So
Yeah, I
hypothetical.
think
Oh, sorry, Darko.
it's all right. That's my fault. But I think adding on to Chief, I think what he said about the people that are angry and sort of that personality for their content, I think it's different because, in my opinion, I think they're sort of, as he said, like jokingly angry, and they sort of understand that they need to be angry, well, not angry, but sort of, I don't know, they need to sort of be toxic for a joke. And I think the difference between someone like that and someone like, I don't know, maybe AJ is that AJ, I'm not, trying to, you take any like beef or anything, but I think he just doesn't have the best personality, or not the best, the hype and positive personality. I think the difference between someone like, I don't know if you've seen Pethy,
Yeah,
um,
Petty. Petty's
but
great.
yeah, he's sort of like a really rage just for, and he knows that he gets views from that, right? But with sort of angry and toxic personality for stream is different.
Yeah, yeah. And something definitely important to mention about that is difficult, like in the long run, to be able to perform as this character and not break the character. It definitely could be mentally taxing, trying to play someone who you aren't. So I think there's obviously the pros and the cons, but that's definitely something worth noting if you're just starting out.
Yeah, and also to add on that, I think especially because of, if you're a positive guy that sort of, you know, that streams and has fun, you won't get many haters. But a lot of people like Pethy, they sort of get almost like abused because of how toxic they are. They get
Yep.
people in their angry personality. That I really didn't think about sort of the negatives of that and how hard it must be to sort of, you know, keep that. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that has been a very, very interesting take on kind of content creation and or else guessing the bubble scene as a whole. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Really, really appreciate it. Any big shout outs you want to give, any plug socials you want to plug, anything you want to plug before we go? We'll start with you, Chief. Anything you want to shout out, anything you want to plug before we leave?
Hey, just first of all, shout out to you, the opportunity to do a podcast for the first time. I know, speaking for Darku, sorry, he'd probably say the same thing. Just the opportunity to do this is really really cool. But also just shout out to the people that have helped us to become who we've been able to become, the fan base that we have. And then also just to plug my own Twitch. I'm live every single night, 6 p.m. Eastern time, on the minute, every single night here. If you are wanting to chill out with me and watch some games or play some games with me.
And Darku, what
Yeah.
about you?
So I'll start off with the social media. So my YouTube, just Darku, and my Twitch, Darku underscore. And again, like Chief said, thank you to everyone that has sort of supported me to get in this position. I wouldn't be here without you guys. So, thank you very much. And thank you, Morky, as well.
No problem. Thank you guys for coming on. Hopefully we'll get you on again soon in the future to discuss more things, Rocket League, more things, content creation, because I think we could sit here for hours and talk about content creation if my internet wasn't just being a absolute arsehole, which it is. But we will definitely get these guys on again. If you want to come on again. I'm not sure if he's want to come on again or not, or if this kind of internet expose has kind of been like, nah, I don't want to do this again.
Of course.
On again, 100%.
I'd love to be on again.
Appreciate you guys. Appreciate everyone at home for tuning in. We'll see you all again next week for some more Triple Commit. Until then, it's goodbye.